Welcome to Ask the Divorce Whisperer. I'm your host, Marta Papa, and we're so glad you're here today interacting with us and learning what we're going to learn from a divorce expert. And our goal here today is to demystify divorce for people who are facing divorce. We do this the first and third Friday of every month from 1 o'clock to about 1:30. And it's on my Divorce Whisperer Facebook page. So you just go there at 1 o'clock, the first and the third Friday of every month, and I'll have a different expert for you that is involved somehow in the divorce process that you may or may not need, or a friend of yours getting divorced may or may not need, but it may be somebody who's just perfect for you that you're looking for. That's our hope. That's our goal. So I asked that divorce expert the following question. If you had a good friend or family member you really loved and they were going through a divorce and you could only give them one piece of advice from your background, what would that one piece of advice be? So I ask everybody that question, and then we go on and have a discussion after that. So if you can ask questions of the expert by sending in questions in the comment section. And you can also view this after today's live event on YouTube. By the end of Friday afternoon, we usually have this posted on YouTube. So just go to YouTube, and you think a friend of yours should hear this, or you want to hear it again, go to YouTube, type in Marta Papa, and all my YouTubes are there, and it has the guests that I interviewed and what they talked about, so you can look it up. You can find out which one you want to look at. So feel free to do that if what we're talking about today is helpful to you or a friend. I'm sure it will be, because today I'm talking with Laura Sulkin. She holds a master's degree in counseling and is a certified divorce professional counselor. She's a certified professional coach. Sorry, master's degree in counseling, certified professional coach, two different things. Sorry. She coaches clients from around the world, helping them identify their potential and achieve their dreams. What could be better than that? So I'm very excited to talk with her. And let's go ahead and welcome her to Ask the Divorce Whisperer, Laura Sulkin. Laura, you can speak.
Hi, Marta. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Can I throw, before you talk, can I throw in one extra thing that would not be on your resume, but I know you and use you, and so I know you have this. I know you have knowledge of this issue. Mm-hmm. Laura has had, and is still, I think, involved in the longest divorce in the history of Missouri for the past 35 years. It has taken her longer to get divorced than it takes most people to meet, get married, have 12 kids, put them through college, and then talk about which kid's going to support them in retirement. It just goes on and on and on. And I learned so much legal information from her, and I'm the lawyer and she's the coach. There's something wrong with that, right?
Unbelievable.
So anyway, not only does she know what she's talking about and has helped so many people, she's gone through it herself in the most hellacious way I have ever seen in my 35 years of practice. And so that's got to be pretty bad. So Laura, can I start out with the question that we ask all the experts first? If you could give only one piece of advice to someone you really care about in getting divorced, what would that piece of advice be?
Well, thank you for asking me that. My advice is don't should all over yourself.
Good. I like that. Can you say a little more about that? I like
yes.
That.
So a lot of times we say things and we think things that we're not really even aware of. I should do this. I need to do that. I have to do this. And it puts a lot of pressure on us, and we're not really even aware of it most of the time, because our thoughts really control our feelings, and they control our behavior and our actions. And so these thoughts, once we become like, put the focus on the awareness, like, what am I really saying? Have to, need to, should, and how do we feel when we say that? It usually is this internal pressure of, oh my gosh, this is all this list of all the stuff that I have to do. And once we become aware of the language that we're using, we can choose to shift. So
Yeah.
if we take something
Yeah.
like, I should do this, and instead, well, I want to do this. Well, why do you want to do it? And why, and what benefit does it have for you in doing it? And it feels so much better, because
Yeah.
just that little shift is giving us our power to choose. So if
Yeah.
you go from I have to, and I should, and I need to, you're really more of a victim and at the
Yeah.
cause, versus if you shift to I want to, and I feel good about, and it's more of a motivation to
Yeah.
do something. It's more empowering because we're
Yeah.
choosing to do it, and it creates a shift. That tiny little, those tiny little words create a shift. So I would encourage everyone listening to this to just pay really close attention to, how are you talking to yourself internally?
Yeah.
What words are you saying out loud? And if you were just to tweak that from
Yeah.
should, need, have to what's the benefit you get out of wanting to do something,
Wow.
how much better you'll feel by
Yeah.
something so little.
Yes. I totally agree with that. And what a great piece of advice to give to people. Because their lawyers giving them all sorts of shoulds. Or you need to do this, you need to do this, fill out this form, don't say that, do
Mhm.
say this, don't get off of Facebook. Lawyers just give people, they just barrage the clients with all the things that they should do. You should do this, you should do that, do this with your kids.
Mhm.
Um, and it feel and being a divorcee myself, it feels like all these rules I have to follow.
Yeah.
If I'm going to win in court, if I'm going to get what I want, I have to follow all these rules, and that's a burden. That's a burden on your
It feels
shoulders. Like the
so
divorce
heavy.
isn't a burden; it's
Yeah.
heavy. It's
Mhm.
heavy, and like, oh, did I do all that today? And if I didn't, what's the impact going to be tomorrow? Whereas when you say shift, what I say in my mind, like what makes me shift, um, is kind of getting leverage on myself.
Yeah.
Like if I think about doing something and I don't want to do it, I don't do it, right? But if I can shift it to, well, if I do it, here are all the good things that are going to happen, because I
Mhm.
go toward pleasure and not pain, right?
Well, that's
So
human. Yeah.
yeah. So if wow, that's going to save me money here, and that's going to let me take a vacation or keep the house or keep kids in school or
Mhm.
whatever your goals are. If that if turning it from I should do this to no, I want to do this because here's how I'm going to feel if I do that. I'm going to feel more positive, and I'm
Mhm.
going to affect my case. And we live in our emotions.
We
It's
absolutely
not
do.
the things that happen to us. We think, oh well, if the doorbell hadn't rung, or if that person hadn't come over, or if he hadn't said that, everything would be fine. No, it's really that's being a victim of your circumstances. And
Which it's
and so how
easy
you
to
break
feel
out
that.
of that is
Yeah.
it is you take over with your own emotions. And you can control them. You take over with your own emotions.
Well, and it goes
Um,
back to the thoughts, because the
and it
thoughts
goes back to the thoughts.
actually
Yeah,
control our feelings. So it's really, and Louise Hay was really the first to
yeah,
talk about that, and how important a thought can be. Because if you think, we only think one thought at a time.
yeah,
So if you don't like how you're feeling, ask yourself, what are you thinking?
yeah,
And Is that really
Great.
what is bringing you a sense of control? And if
Yeah.
it's not, how can you change it? And what can
Yeah.
you do to have a sense of control in your life? Like one small thing. And
Yeah.
it's just a thought.
It's just a thought, and it's just a small shift. Can you, that's so interesting. So I'm really getting into the nitty gritty of it. And so when you're having that thought and being a victim of that thought, oh, this isn't going to work out and it's going to cost too much and blah, blah, blah. How can can you give us any tips on how to break out of that routine? Because I have routine thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thought, new day, same thought. And
Very normal.
and I
Monkey
wonder
brain.
if there's a way to, if you can help us break out of that routine and start a new routine of thought. Is there a way to do
Absolutely.
that?
Well,
Hey.
the first place to start is the awareness. So
Oh
once you're
yeah.
aware of the language that you're using, then you can ask yourself, is this really how I want to be feeling? Like what I'm saying, if I'm saying I should do this, should do that, I'm shoulding all over myself and I'm feeling so heavy and
Yeah.
overwhelmed. So how do I want to feel? What is it that I really want to accomplish? And then what do I want to do about it? So these are all very empowering questions that you can, and that's really what coaching is. And you just become your own coach. So you acknowledge and validate yourself. Like, of course, I'm just used to talking like this. And so I'm used to feeling like this, and it's a pattern. So any
Yeah.
pattern that you want to change begins with awareness.
Yes.
So, um,
Yes. Makes
and what you
very
were
much
saying
sense.
earlier was sometimes it feels like all this stuff is happening to us.
Yes.
And some very wise person said, life is 10% about what happens to us and 90% on how we perceive it, how we think
Yeah.
about it. Is it really
Yeah.
happening to us or is it
Yeah.
happening for us?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's a shift. That's a really good pattern shift. What if
And
it's happening for you?
when you're in the middle of divorce or you're thinking about a divorce, it can feel so overwhelming,
Yeah.
right? You and I both know when you're on the other side,
Yeah.
it's so much easier to realize the benefits that have come from this
Yes.
process. Like
Yeah.
nobody grows up and says, I can't wait to get a divorce,
Yeah.
and live happily ever
Yep.
after. But once you've gone through it, that hindsight is really 2020, and you can see how much you've learned and how much you've grown.
Mhm.
And that doesn't really come from your life having been paved smoothly.
Yeah.
Really, the
Yeah.
most that we've grown through our entire lives have been through the challenges
Yes.
and the heartaches.
Yes. That's how you
So
grow. Yes, I
that's
agree.
how we grow. So this is really, the pain that a lot of people may be feeling during all this is totally normal and it's totally
Mm.
understandable.
And except in your case, it will come to an end.
I will believe that when I see it.
Except in your case, it will come to an end for everyone else. I've seen something you've written about um, the uh, some advice that you've written about getting a crew around you, or who should you surround yourself with, or
Mhm.
should you surround yourself with certain kinds of people as you're going through a divorce who can help you? Could you talk about that a little bit more?
Absolutely. So sometimes I have this analogy that a divorce is like at one time you were two ships in the waves and you decide to go your separate ways. And it could just feel like you're being blown about. Like one storm happens and you have to respond or react versus something else. My advice is find a safe harbor, create a safe harbor, surround yourself with your closest, and it could just be your best friend, could be the person that is always there for you, acknowledging, validating, listening, and not judging you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I would imagine your clients feel like you are who they want to be on that ship with them when they decide to go back out, because
Mm-hmm.
ships weren't built to stay in the harbor. That's where
Great.
we
Yeah.
assess, do we have everything we need? And that's really self-care.
Yeah. What a great concept. I learn better um, with concepts than words. And
Mm-hmm.
when I read what you wrote about that, I'm like, wow, that is just touching. And I would suggest that to any client, that it's sort of like now is the time of vulnerability because you haven't done it before. It's uncertain. We don't like uncertainty. We like to know what's going to happen and know what the consequences are going to be. And wow, you got no control over it when you're in court, just none, none. It could be a bad spouse, a bad lawyer, a bad judge, a bad guardian ad litem, a bad, there's so many people involved in your case,
Mm-hmm.
and you have no control over any of them, and they can be kind of out of whack. Um, so I wrote it down as you said it, a safe harbor, and who can create that? But you create that safe harbor. Okay, there's a hurricane out there. I see it, but
Mm-hmm.
here it's calm, and the boats are not washing up on shore, and they're not crashing. So here's a place where the sea is safe, the air is calm. You're in a calm harbor, and if you don't want to be sitting alone in the boat, who do you want with you? You can only pick a few. You may have 15 people. I don't. But who would you pick to be with you to help you stay strong, stay calm? Because all those things help you get through a divorce with the least amount of emotional damage to yourself and your children. So I love that idea of a safe harbor, and who's your crew going to be? Who's going to be around you and holding you up, because that hurricane is going to come by, and it may not hit your harbor, but it's going to come by, and at some point you're going to have to go out into the ocean alone. Well, not alone. You're going to have to go out into the ocean, but not in a fighting way. And so, who can help? So, what else I wrote down is how who can you surround yourself with that can hold you up when you can't hold yourself up?
Mm-hmm. Well, and
What a great idea.
that's the part that you play as someone's lawyer. You are there
Yeah,
to help them navigate the legal
yes,
system.
that's
Um,
right.
Counselors
But
and
they need
coaches.
more than me.
Yeah,
I give them I call it a client bio history, and I ask a whole bunch of questions, and then I ask, who are the four closest people? Who is your support system?
there
Who
you
are
go.
the four closest people in your life? Because I want to know their names, because when they're melting down at my table, and I can't spend the weekend with them. I want to know. Call Sally, call George, call your mom. Here are the people you said that are on speed dial, and they'll pick up the phone at 2 a.m. I asked you that at the very beginning. Are they still on your speed dial? Will they still pick up? You need their help. Reach out to them. They agreed to do it. They can't read your mind. You have to ask for it. And so use them. They're your crew. They're the people that are around you.
Well, and
And that
that's
can make a
another
difference.
form of self-care.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Surrounding yourself with those trusted people who have been there for you time and time again. And I'm sure you've been there for them too.
They
And
need more than me. Yeah,
yeah.
they need more than me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've seen some people put no one in that spot on the questionnaire that I have them fill out the first time they come in to interview me. And when I get to that, and they put no one, first of all, I feel so sorry for them. All right. And then second, with the next time I meet with them, I say, this is unacceptable. All right. You cannot do this by yourself. You deserve support. If you are an introvert and you're a computer programmer and you do it in your basement and you never come out except once a week to go to the grocery store, I get it. You don't have a support system. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It's your lifestyle, all right, and your personality. You don't have a support system. But buddy, you need one now. So if you can't find friends, you go pay a coach to help you. You go pay a therapist to listen to you. I can remember paying a therapist to listen to me the first year after my divorce. And I had a lot of friends and I'd go out to dinner with them and I could talk to them about it, but they got kind of tired of hearing it. And it's like, oh no, she's going to open her mouth and it's going to last the whole first course of the dinner. And I didn't want to lose those friends. I didn't want to wear them out, right? And so I went and hired somebody to listen to me, and they gave me, they were my support system. I mean, they gave me great advice, and it wasn't tinted with, everybody has their own garbage or baggage, on their back. And they sort through that baggage to give you advice, and it may not be good advice. It may be something they went through, but it doesn't fit what you're asking, or they used it and it didn't work very well for them. So I want my advice to come from people that know more than I know, and have faced this before with other people. Anybody that's successful in life has had a guide, a coach, a mentor, a teacher, someone they modeled after. If you're successful, it just doesn't happen and fall in your lap. You are following somebody else, you're getting advice from somebody else, you're getting coaching from somebody else. And you might move on to different ones, but we stay stuck with blinders on, and the coach helps us open it up of, oh no, these are my only options. The coach says, I can remember you saying one time something like, you know what, this could be a good thing that's happening to you. Oh no, it's not. It's terrible. I've never been divorced in my family. Okay, it's not fun. I get it. But you could view it as a new start. You could view it as, hey, I can do anything now, and I don't need my spouse's permission, or I don't have to listen to my spouse's grief. I could do anything. What do I want to do? I'm free. What do I want to do? And so,
all in how
that's
you
a
look at it.
whole new thing. Who's going to help you through that?
Yes.
Even that could feel overwhelming. Like, I don't know what to do. I sell the house. I don't know what to do. And so a coach can really help you figure out what you want to do. And then we'll figure out how you can do it. How do you want to feel? What do you need to do that? And then push you that extra mile or inch to help you get there.
Baby steps.
Do you agree with that? That's what a coach can do.
Well, and to use the boat analogy even that much further, when you understand who you are, which is like your ship, like what do you value? What do you really want in life? What really motivates you? Then we work on, well, where do you want to go? Like, what's the opportunity in all of this? And then we chart the course.
Yeah.
So
chart the course. That's great.
You chart the course, you have a destination in mind. And I like to think of the partnership that I have with my clients as I'm a thought partner. I'm an accountability partner. So if to get from here to there, we break it down into steps. And each week, there's homework. And what are the things that you want to do to baby steps, like you were saying, towards that goal, towards that destination? And of course, all these outside influences, hurricanes, storms are going to come up. We're going to get off track. But with somebody with you, you're the captain of your own ship. But with somebody with you, helping you get back onto course, it sometimes can really help people stay more future focused. Like, what is the long-term goal? And do I like where I'm at right now? the
Yeah.
storm that I'm going through? Probably
No.
not.
No.
But know that it's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
Any experience that you would now in your life look back on and say, that was horrible, it was awful, but we all got through it. We all get through the
Yeah.
horrible, awful,
Yeah.
no good, very bad days and times,
Yeah.
and usually have so much um, that we have learned from that,
Yeah.
how strong we
Yes.
really are.
Yeah. And I love what you say about you're the captain of your own ship, but a captain needs crew members. A captain can't do it. Some guys can, some people can sail a yacht around the world. Some people start doing that and they don't come back. Some people have been unsuccessful.
Mhm.
Um, but but usually the captain makes decisions, but it's other people. There's other people to help the captain go where they want to go, help direct the captain. It's not a straight line from A to B because of the wind. And so you're
Mhm.
going like that. I have a background in airlines, and it's not a straight line from New York to London. You're always course correcting, and that's what the towers are helping you do. The airport tower radio guys in the airport towers are helping you do is course correct, and of course it's automatic in the airplane too. And
Mhm.
but that course correct can be very difficult if you don't have anybody to talk to about it. Like, I'm trying to get there, and I've done this and done this, and I'm not there. How come? And an outside party can see it without the blinders and say, well, you need to course correct here. You need to course correct. Doesn't mean you're not going to get there. It doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you did anything wrong. The winds just came and took you, and
Mhm.
and now you have to course correct to get back online for that journey of where you're going. And
Absolutely.
who better to do that than a coach? I mean, friends, but they may not know. They may not know how to help you course correct to get there. But a coach is.
Well, and finding your internal motivation and asking the question like, what's the opportunity in this situation?
Yeah. Wow, that just turns the quarter on its head.
It
That
really does. What's the
really does.
opportunity? What's the lesson? How is this happening for me? What is the best case scenario I could ever imagine coming from this?
Yeah.
It shifts the thoughts
Yeah.
from when the worst part of divorce is the fear of, like you were saying, the unknown and what we can't control. So a coach will help you ask the questions, well, what can I control?
Yeah.
What today is it within my realm of control?
Yeah.
And what of those options that I have? So then you're opening yourself up to your options, what you
Yes.
can control, and empowering yourself to, well, what do I want to do?
Yeah. A lot of people don't know. They're so consumed with being a victim and being afraid that
It's
they
just so
can't break out of
normal.
that shell. They don't
Yes.
they don't see that there could be an opportunity here.
Mhm.
And I probably wouldn't tell them that as a lawyer, because they would probably throw something at me like, you think this is an opportunity? So they need somebody else to tell them that, right? Because
Mhm.
I have to be the strong person and the person fighting for them in court. And they probably don't want to hear that from me, but they need to hear that, and they might have to hear that from a different person, which is why it's good to have a circle around you, a circle of supportive people around you, and who's going to be in that circle, who's committed to being in that circle for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
those are your
Any,
people. And now is
anything.
a wonderful time to find your people, find your support
Yeah.
system,
Yeah.
and perhaps look at it as an opportunity to find yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, so often, um, especially as women, when we get married, we go from maiden name to Mrs. Smith, and
Right.
then you have kids, then your mom.
Yep.
And sometimes something as little as losing our name, we can also
Yeah.
lose ourselves into our
Yeah.
roles. And
Yeah.
this can be an opportunity to give back to ourselves, on who are
Yeah.
we and what is it that we really, really want. Like putting the oxygen mask on ourselves
Yes. Yeah.
before our kids and our friends and
Yeah.
everyone else. And self-care is not selfish.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great thing to bring up. We're having this conversation the first week of March, and March is Women History Month,
Mhm.
um, and and I think of all the women that have gone before me that brazed that trail, and I wouldn't be where I am if they hadn't done the things that they had done to open up the doors for me to do what I wanted to do with my life. Um, and and not to say that men don't have, it's not hard on men. It is, um, but I I feel like I lost more of my identity than my husband did when we got married,
Mhm.
because we lived in his hometown by 3 blocks from his family, and he
Mhm.
had his same job and he had his same job title and he was part of a firm, and wow, I was in a whole brand new place. I didn't know anybody. My name changed, my family changed. I mean, my family was 500 miles away, and like who am I now? He didn't change. He just kind of got a wife, and
Right.
um,
Additional support.
yeah, and what? Yeah, and what did I get? Well, I really loved him, and that's great. But I'm going to have to create what I'm getting, because it's just not going to happen by itself and fall in my lap. And I
Mhm.
gave up a whole lot, and so what am I going to replace that with? Um, and we aren't always thinking clearly like that. Oh yeah, I apologize. Um, we aren't always prepared for that when we're going through a divorce, because we're going through so much trauma, and all we can do is
Right.
focus on the trauma. Well,
Mhm.
I see clients and myself focus on the trauma. How can you fix the trauma? How can you fix the trauma for your kids? You're the caretaker, and really you need a caretaker. You are the caretaker for all these people, and that's not going to stop. They're still your children and family, and you're still taking care of the house or
Mhm.
driving or whatever. But who's taking care of you? Nobody's taking care of you.
Right.
And we can go a long time in our life without anybody taking care of us. But this could be the start of a different way of looking at yourself, that maybe your boundaries can open up, and and who you're putting in those boundaries can serve as caretakers for you, and they don't mind, and they're really smart, and they have a different view on it, and they can ask you questions that make you um, figure out what you want. Figure out what you want.
Mhm.
It's odd, as a lawyer. Never thought about it till just now talking to you. I mean, you're making my brain go there. Of I I have so many clients, men and women,
Mhm.
who, when I ask what they want, and I have them make a list, a top 10 list,
Mhm.
so that when they start fighting about the forks and it's not on the top 10 list, I know that something else is going on, right?
Right.
And so if you could get 5 out of the top 10 list in court, my gosh, you won hands down. Um, but but you're just going to flip from thing to thing to thing to thing if you don't write it down. Okay, here's the stuff. Here's the non-negotiables. All right, these
Right.
are the non-starters, and then here's things that I'd like, but I don't have to have them right now. I can replace them later. They can come into my life later. And when I ask clients to do that, they've come in with a list of, well, I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want this to happen. I'm like, well, there's all your don'ts. Okay, you're halfway through this assignment. Good. The don'ts can help you see what you do want, but they don't naturally
Absolutely.
think of what they do want. They naturally think of, well, I don't want him to get this, and I don't want her to do that, and then I don't want my lawyer to, and I don't want to spend this much money. Okay, there's your don'ts.
Mhm.
Now, can you make a list of, here's what I do want? So we know you don't want to go to Tucson, and we know you don't want to go to Seattle, but where do you want to go?
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out San Diego, all right?
Yeah.
Something in between. You have to figure out where you're going, or you don't know where you're going, or you don't know where you're going. You don't have a map of the future.
Well, and that's
Somebody's
kind of
got to
where
help
we
you
just
do that.
started,
Yeah.
which is what I don't
Yeah.
want is all the shoulds and need tos and
Yeah.
have tos and
Good
that
point.
really heavy energy versus, which comes really from a fear base, versus
Absolutely.
shifting to what do I want?
Yeah.
What could possibly come of this? What brings me joy? What questions that maybe you haven't asked yourself in a really long time.
Really long time. Yes. And the divorce is the catalyst. The divorce is changing everything in your life now. So if you're gonna plan your future and not just default to whatever happens, if you're going to be in charge of it and you're going to plan it, no better time than when you're getting divorced. I mean, that can be your leverage to take massive action. Of okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to go do this. We're going to move. Whatever. We're going to go to school instead of homeschooling. Massive action towards where you're headed. But you don't know where you're headed if nobody asks you that question.
Exactly.
I don't know any other lawyers that say, give me your top 10 list of what you want. I don't know
That's
any other
brilliant.
That's
brilliant.
For sure from my psychology background, for sure. I didn't learn that in law school. In law school, we tell people what they're going to get. Here's what I'm going to get for you. Here's what I'm going to get. And then if you don't want it, you can give it back, or you can give it to the Salvation Army. But it's my job to get you as much as I can, not necessarily what you want, but as much as I can. And that's what we learned in law school. That's what malpractice is about. And how do we know what they really want? They don't even know what they want. How do we know what they want? Unless they have somebody guiding them and asking those questions. And as an attorney, for me to be asking those questions, that's $350 an hour asking those questions, and I don't know the answers. So there's other places and people they can use in their circle around them, their safe harbor, who are much more experienced, much better at asking the questions, knowing what questions to ask, better at supporting them, and cost a fraction of the cost that it costs to ask your lawyer these questions.
Absolutely.
What a good plan. What a good plan.
And just one more thing I'd love to add is, as a life coach, I believe that everyone has their answers within, that they are the expert in their life. And it's really not about me giving advice. It's really about helping people open up to their potential and their possibilities and what brings joy and purpose. And really, those questions generate so much thought and really get people kind of stewing about things that maybe they hadn't thought about since they were kids. They just went down this path, and that was the path that they were committed to. And now, as you're saying, a divorce can be that opportunity to reevaluate. Well, is this really the path I want to go on? Or maybe I want to explore this over here. And what would that involve? And having a coach can be like having a really committed, I don't know if I want to use the word. I mean, obviously we're committed to the person and the process and the partnership, a thoughtful partnership, asking those questions, and in a really safe harbor, safe, secure environment where there is no judgment. There are no wrong paths and no wrong decisions. If you don't like that decision, well, then let's make another decision, and then and keep moving forward is the entire, just like, let's get out of the like you were saying, sometimes it can just be those thoughts that go round and round. I'm a victim, I'm hopeless, I'm helpless, I'm mad about it. What can you actually do about it? And
Yeah.
that's where coaching can really be
Yeah.
beneficial. How to go from here to where you want to go, like
Yeah.
a GPS.
And I got to tell you, that is not the mindset of people coming into their divorce lawyer. That is not their mindset. It's about punishment. It's about getting what's due to them. It's about um, it's about getting even, getting their worth out of the marriage. It is heavy thoughts like that, and there really isn't room until somebody challenges the client. I don't usually see room in their brain to take in, well, maybe this could be a catalyst of change for good. Right? I mean,
It's
it's
mind
not what I
blowing,
wanted.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one. Yeah, they do. That's not natural. That is not a natural reaction to my spouse is leaving me. My spouse is leaving me high and dry with children, and what am I going to do? And I jumped out of the workforce to take care of kids, and now what? And now my spouse doesn't want to pay me anything. Now what? So that's their mentality. It's not. It's not thinking, well, this could be freeing. I wonder. No. Somebody has to challenge them into that mindset. Um, uh, and usually lawyers aren't the ones challenge them into that mindset.
Well, and that's what makes you so unique, because what you're describing is the pit bull. Let's fight it out in court.
Fight.
Let's,
So they want to
and that's
win the
what
fight.
makes you unique is your clients want to come together in mediation for the greater good. You're saving them time, you're saving them money.
Yeah.
And
we're saving their kids.
Yes.
We're saving their kids from the impact of all the conflict. And it can be learning a new way to resolve conflict with your partner if you have children, because you're going to have to figure that out. Because what you did, the way you figured out conflict during your marriage didn't work, or you wouldn't be sitting in front of a divorce lawyer and have a divorce case number. It didn't work. So what else can I do that might work better in the future? And where am I going to get that information? And it's not in most books. It's not. It's hard to know where to go to get that information. But if you get with the right professional, that professional has that information. They've been trained. They've had experience. They have that information. They aren't blinded by your divorce like you're blinded by your own divorce. And they can. Wow, those just are such freeing questions that you're asking. That you're saying that you can ask. Divorcing clients. They're just freeing, and I don't ask freeing questions. Not the lawyer's job.
Exactly.
The lawyer's job to do that. We don't know how to do that. It should be the lawyer's job to do that, but we don't know how to do that. So that's why we need. I call it a circle of professionals, and why you're in that circle of professionals of. You know what, I'm not everything to everyone. This is what I do, but you need all this other stuff. And so let's load your boat up with it. Let's get those people let's find your safe harbor, and then let's circle the wagons around you that are going to help hold you up.
Absolutely.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So we've run well over our time. If you have any last comments, you don't have to, but if you have any last piece of advice.
Well, it's just going back to the don't shit all over yourself.
Yeah.
This is also a really great time to give yourself a lot of grace. This is one of the hardest things, if not the hardest, that you're most likely to ever go through.
Yeah.
And kindness and grace and that self-care, whether it's lighting a candle or buying yourself some flowers, that will go so far into that one thing that you can control.
Yes.
Today. I can have some peace as I light a candle, take a bath, whatever it is that brings you comfort. That is something that you can control.
That's great. I think that's a great piece of advice to end with. So thank you so much for giving up your time today
Oh, my
to
pleasure.
give us so much good information and advice, and open us up to other ideas that we may not have thought about, and people to have in our circle in making decisions for the future, and how important it is to be deciding where you're going while you're still fighting this battle back here.
Mhm.
Um, or you get that divorce decree and you set it on your lap and you say, now what? now what do I do?
Mhm.
You should be planning. So you know what to take from the marriage. You know what to take from the pot, the marital pot. No, I don't need all that furniture. I'm moving to California, uh, or whatever. It helps you. It helps you in the present as well as the future. So thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And if you want to hear her advice again, wait a couple hours, and then it's going to be up on YouTube. Um, Laura, if somebody wants to contact you with a question or get more information about you, we are going to have that on the YouTube. All right.
Wonderful.
But for people that don't want to go to YouTube to find that, can you give us an email address or a phone number of how people can reach you if they have more questions or they want to explore coaching more?
Oh, absolutely. Please feel free to call my cell. It's 314-440-6372.
Can you
Um,
repeat that? 314.
440-6372. And I do offer a complimentary session just to kind of get a feel for what coaching is. It's different than therapy, it's different than
Yeah.
counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to connect with any and all of your clients and see if that's a good fit.
Yeah. Good. Well, thank you so much. We're going to sign off for today. And in 2 weeks, let me just give you a heads up of who I'm going to be interviewing 2 weeks from now. It's Tim Galvin, who, gosh, probably has 35 years or more experience in marriage and family therapy. And he got his feet wet and learned family therapy at probably one of the most prestigious, recognized schools in the country, the Menninger Institute, which is now part of Baylor School of Medicine. So he just has a wealth of knowledge from teaching there, as well as practicing marriage and family therapy for 35 years. And if you would like to hear some information and some good funny stories from him, 2 weeks from now, check back in with us, and be sure to check back in with Laura, how you can reach her and how you can see this again. I mean, learning is repetition. And so if you listen to it again, you may hear something that you didn't hear the first time, that really clicks for you and is really worth the half hour. Okay, until 2 weeks from now, this is the Divorce Whisperer signing off, and thank you so much, Laura, for all of your wise advice.
Thank you so much, Marta.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Happy Friday.
Thank you. Yes, happy Friday. Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye.